Alright, so hi y'all, it's Tiffany. I'm getting ready to go to dialysis today, again, of course. But, in my living room, I had some random Michael Jackson videos playing. And Come Together came on, from the movie Moonwalker. So, every single time I watch that video, I get transported back to 1998 when I was 12. And when my mother banned me from renting Michael Jackson videos and, bringing them home and whatnot. So this all started, like I said, in 1998. I always call that the summer that I came into my own as a Michael Jackson fan. Like, I had been a fan since 1995, but it wasn't until 1998 that I really, really understood and got the memo of how big and how, just how famous and how big a deal Michael Jackson actually was. Please forgive me because I was 9 when I became a fan. I was a kid. I didn't really know him. My parents weren't really Michael Jackson fans, particularly my father, but that's another story for another day. So, there used to be a video rental place, like this is the 90s. We had a VCR. And for the kids watching this who don't know what the hell a VCR is, Google it. I know you're looking at me on a phone, so go ahead and Google it. There was a place not too far from my house called WC's Video. And, it's long gone now. It is now like, I think, a place where you get eyelashes done and stuff now. So, we would go over there. And I think for like $3.99 or something, you could rent videos, I believe, for 5 days. And, if it was late, there's a late fee of like $1 or whatever, but, whatever. So, we go over there, and, like, I've been going to this particular one probably since I was about 7 or 8, because there were several video places in town that we would go. It was off-the-wall places. It wasn't like we went directly to Blockbuster. We went to WC's. They had one in the Village. They had... And, the thing is, all these buildings are still standing, but, they're different establishments now. The Village now is a chicken place. So, we went in there, and, my mom would get her whatever video it is she wanted to watch. And I would get a video that I wanted to watch. And that was just our thing. Like, every week, Friday, she'd get off from work, cash her paycheck, we go do this. So, I'm wandering around, and what caught my attention was, they had like music videos, like Madonna, Truth or Dare. They had, Prince and Purple Rain. So, it came to me, I was like, oh, okay, they got music videos and stuff like that from artists. So I'm like, I wonder if they got Michael Jackson. So I go down, because, it's in order by, alphabetically in order. So, Prince, Madonna, I go back. There's the J's. There's Michael Jackson. There's even Janet Jackson. So, the two videos that they had for Michael Jackson was Moonwalker and Michael Jackson, The Legend Continues. That documentary that came out like in the 80s. So, I don't know how I managed to talk my mom into renting both of them. But she was like, okay, she knew I liked Michael Jackson. She was like, okay, fine. So we sat down and we watched it. And, I mean, if I could go back to that day, the first time I watched Moonwalker, I mean, like, if I had a time machine, I would literally want to go back to that one day in 1998 just to relive that day, because, it just kind of all clicked for me. It all kind of hooked in for me of like, this is your life now. This is your life, Tiffany. This is your calling. This is your this is your fucking calling. And it has been ever since. So, I liked watching it. I mean, I would watch it. I watched it nonstop. So, I have my own room, my own TV, my own VCR. So I can watch this at will, to until the tape broke. I could do it however long I wanted. So, 5 days passed. It's time for the tapes to go back. So, I go with my father because my mother was still at work, but my dad was interested in renting some type of Western or something. So, we go drop off the tapes. He cut me loose in the store. Dad goes to the horror section for whatever he wanted to get. So I'm back over in the music section. Now, the problem was we just returned Moonwalker and, The Legend Continues. So there's not another tape. That was literally the sole copies they had. So I was like, crap, so I have to find something else to do. So I'm digging around, the children's films. What do I see? Free Willy. And I noticed that particular tape for Free Willy had special edition written on top of it. So I'm like, what is special about, Free Willy? Because, by that time, every kid I knew at some point had seen Free Willy and Free Willy 2. I pick up Free Willy and flip it over. And as somewhere on the box it said, includes, the Will You Be There video by Michael Jackson. So I'm like, Michael Jackson? I didn't even know he had done the song. Because at the time I saw the movie, I wasn't into Michael Jackson, so I wouldn't have known that, he had done, the soundtrack for that film. To this day, I still have no idea what the hell Free Willy is about. But I can sing the entire song. So, I get the video. And, my dad just sees a kid with a whale flying over him. So, he doesn't know it has to do with Michael Jackson. He doesn't give a shit. Rinse the videos, we come home. I'm sitting there in the house. And, I can hear my mom pull up and get out of her car. My mom comes through the door, drops her keys on the table. Because, I can still hear all of this all these years later. Drop her keys. And I can hear her inhale to call my name for something. And that's when Will You Be There started, the little music video. So, ooh, ooh. So, my mom hears the music. And, she calls me. And in between her calling me and me answering, you can hear Michael Jackson say, hold me like the River Jordan. Can't see, Mom. Are you watching Michael Jackson? Yes, ma'am. Come here. So I go in there and say yes. So she's telling me, I thought I told you, those tapes were due today. I don't want a late fee. I was like, we took them back. So she's like, you found another something with Michael Jackson. I say, it's on Free Willy. So she was like, okay, fine, watch Free. So she made sure I watched all of Free Willy. To this day, I still can't tell you what the hell Free Willy is about. But, the 5 days pass. We go take it back again. What's on the shelf? Moonwalker. The Legend Continues. Those came home with me that day. So, once again, it's the same little song and dance. Mom comes home, drops her keys. She can hear Michael Jackson coming out of my room. So she come in there, and she's like, you rented that again. Because you could just see the little tapes laying on my bed. She's like, you rented that again. I said, yes, ma'am. She's like, okay, it's been 3 weeks. You've rented it twice in a 3-week period. I don't want to hear Michael Jackson. I don't want to see Michael Jackson in his house again. I don't want to see him no more. You can rent whatever else you want. Don't get that. I said, okay, fine. So, I was pissed off. And then I thought about it. Because sometime over the course of that week, my mother had an extra hour added to how long she worked. So she didn't get off at 4 o'clock anymore. She got off at 5. She went from 8 to 5 at her job. And, I'm sitting there thinking, and I'm like, okay, I get out of, this also was something that went on into the next school year. But summertime, I was just like, okay, I have, however much time from the moment her van pulls out of the house, pulls out of the driveway until it comes back. So, I figured it up. I figured it up as about, depending on if she went to go do scratch-offs or something, maybe 10 or 12 hours, depending. If she goes to Bible study, if she goes to choir practice, because she was in the choir at church, there's all this extra time that I could watch Michael Jackson. And like I said, my dad legitimately didn't give a fuck. As long as nobody was naked in the movie, he didn't give a shit. So, thus began my summer. We take the tapes back. So, I rent normal films. My mother sees me watching normal films. So, my normal films to watch was like Hook. I was a really big Robin Williams fan. So, Robin Williams was constantly circulating in and out of my house. Hook, Jumanji, Jack, Mrs. Doubtfire, that was all in my house. So, every time I looked up, she could see, because she literally could see from her bed through the door to my room and into my room and see what's on my TV. And all she saw was Robin Williams, hello, So, she didn't know that. So, we go next week to take it back. I asked my dad, I said, Dad, I'm watching these films too quick. I said, can I start renting 2 of them instead of 1? The old man said, yeah, go ahead. So he decided he was going to get him 2 films. I don't care what the fuck he watched. But, so I went and I grabbed just a random video, random anything. At one point, I literally had a Disney aerobics tape for like 5-year-olds, and I'm 12. Just randomly grabbed anything that had a cartoon on the front of it. And, Michael Jackson. So, I just watched Nickelodeon, watch whatever, till Mom left. I heard the door close, car door slam, van backing away. Michael Jackson all day. Michael Jackson all day. Michael Jackson. I know because I counted. I watched Moonwalker 500 times. And I stopped counting after 500. At like sometime in 1999. So it's probably in the thousands now. So, kept going back and forth. So one time, my dad wanted a particular film. And unfortunately, WC's didn't have it. So he gets out the phone book. That's tell you how long ago it was. He gets out the phone book. Calls around to every video place in town. So there was a place called Hollywood Video. It was a pretty good contender, rival for Blockbuster at the time. So we went over to Hollywood. Now, I liked Hollywood so much, I contemplated working there at one time. So we get over to Hollywood. Dad's, asking the kid behind the counter, hey, I'm looking for X whatever video. The kid says, sure. So I asked my dad, I said, Dad, can I rent a video? He's like, yeah, sure, go ahead. Now, I walked around with the intention of looking for Sailor Moon, because a friend of mine said they had Sailor Moon. I wanted to see Sailor Moon. So, I found the anime, but something told me to keep wandering around. So I kept wandering. So I happened to look down and found the music videos again. So, like I said, there's typical fare. Madonna, Truth or Dare, Prince, Purple Rain. There's a video I've never seen. Dangerous, the short films. This was the only place in town that had Dangerous, the short films, which I didn't know existed before that day. So I grab it and I rent it. My dad didn't notice it said Michael Jackson on the front because he was well aware that my mother had said no Michael Jackson in the house. So he just saw all the artwork on the front of it, didn't think nothing of it, scanned it, and we got to keep that for 7 days. So I jammed on that for an entire week, then we took it back. So for the course of the summer, that's all I was doing. Going between WC's and Hollywood, cycling these 3 films out. Soon as Mom left, it's Michael Jackson time. Soon as I heard that car door close, I had enough time between her getting out of her car, getting her purse, coming through the gate, coming up the walk, coming up the steps, and coming in the back door, dropping her shit on the table to get that tape out and hid. And have the TV back on, else MTV, Nickelodeon, Food Network, something, innocuous, where it looks like I'm just chilling. I might even be sitting there holding a book from the library, looking like I was reading. And, I spent my whole summer like this. She didn't know that I was literally watching Michael Jackson basically behind her back. And, eventually, I was able to, I was getting to the age where I was able to start going to the mall. So what did they have in the mall? I think it's still there, actually, called Suncoast. And you could buy tapes and, CDs and things like that out of there. So I went in. Of course, I went looking for Michael Jackson. I had a $20 bill and stars in my eyes. I came home with, what the hell did I come home with? The history DVD. That's when I started getting the history DVDs. I got the first one, part one, then I got History on Film part two, and, played the hell out of those. My mother couldn't say shit about it because they were mine. I owned them. You can't make me take them back. They're mine. So, so played the shit out of that, because I had it on tape at first. The tape broke. Went and got the DVDs, played the shit out of it. So, eventually, like I said, WC's went out of business. So, couldn't get Moonwalker, couldn't get The Legend Continues. So this was like what? Around maybe 2002 they went out of business. 2004, I get my first desktop computer. So, Google's still relatively new. Google's, I'm still in forums and stuff. So I'm asking people in these forums that are now long gone, hey, do you know where I can get this on tape or DVD? Do you know where I can get this on tape or DVD? So somebody come up and they say, oh, hey, I know this guy. Now keep in mind, this is in like 2004. I know this guy. He makes bootlegs of all Michael Jackson stuff you can want. So the guy gave me the link, looked at it. Price was reasonable. Then I found out where the guy was. Spain. Spain, like Spain in Europe. Spain. So thus began the song and dance of, firstly, not only getting the money for this, but getting, at the time my mother couldn't drive anymore because she had lost her legs, getting my dad to take me to the store so I can get money orders. And he's like, well, what the fuck do you need a money order for? So I started saying, I wanted some Michael Jackson stuff. So I have to listen to him complain, why are you giving money to somebody who's already a millionaire, blah, 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 just for a little bit of noise. And, I basically tuned him out, because I have a gift now where somebody can just be ranting and I can give them the most I'm listening to you look while my mind is 1,000 miles away. Just because my dad liked to rant and rave and I just had to, yes sir, But I went and got it. So then I had to get him to take me to the post office. And that was a comedy in the post office. Because I didn't know how much postage to put on the letter. So I said, hey, I'm sending, this letter to Spain. I want to get some stamps to put on it. So the woman behind the counter act like she couldn't seem to fathom that I was sending a letter out of the country to the country of Spain. And, it literally took her having to get a colleague to come figure out what I'm doing. You're sending a money order and a letter to somebody in Spain. Yes, why the hell can't I know somebody in Spain? So, we finally got it sorted. And, those ignorant people got out of my face. I mailed the letter. I emailed the guy and said, hey, I sent the thing. It should be to you in however long snail mail from the United States takes to get to Spain. He said, sure. So, about 2 weeks later, he emails me and he's like, oh, I got your payment. I got your tapes in the mail. You should be getting them soon. I said, okay, great. Like I said, completely forgot about it. So, fast forward about another 2.5 weeks. My dad goes to get the mail, and he loved to lay on the bell to get me to come out of my room to come to the front door. So, he laying on the bell like he ain't never rung a bell before. So I'm like, well, what the hell is the matter? I'm thinking the man having a heart attack or some shit. So I'm like, well, what's the matter? He's like, there's a package for you. And he's squinting at it. He said, it's from Spain. What the hell did you set out for in Spain? I said, got some Michael Jackson stuff. From Spain? So then my dad starts screaming because he thinks Michael Jackson lives in Spain. I'm like, Dad, no, Michael lives in California. I said, I'm getting this from a fellow fan who makes these tapes. So while he's steady talking, I'm opening the package. There's the tapes. I'm playing the tapes again. So my mother still can see from her room into my room watching Michael Jackson. You bought them tapes? Yes, ma'am. I told you not to bring them no more. Mom, I'm 18. And literally in the back of my mind, I'm like, I'm 18. You have no legs. You can't get up and take it away from me. So, what's the point? And my TV had a jack for my headphones. So just so she couldn't hear it, I put headphones on all the time. It was playing the music through the headphones until the tapes broke. Then I found DVDs from the same guy, bootleg DVDs for me. And then, now we're in the age of streaming, and please believe I have it on streaming. But every single time I watch Come Together, which is pretty frequently thanks to YouTube, I think about that. Like how mom was like, oh, you can't have Michael Jackson in the house. Okay, but you're not in the house 24/7. Here's Michael Jackson. So, yeah. Now to move my stuff into the living room so I can listen up for the bus. So I can go waste another day of dialysis. But, yeah. If you want to, watch Come Together. It's a good video. Have a good day.